Good morning, boys and girls. This is Miss Katie from Corinth Elementary. I wanted to touch base with you guys and let y'all know that kindergarten looks a little different right now, but that's okay. Your kindergarten teachers at Corinth Elementary sure do miss your smiles and your waves and your hugs this morning, but we are so glad to have this chance to get to see you and talk to you and keep school going just a little bit longer. We want to make sure that you stay healthy, so while you're out, make sure that you wash your hands really well for 20 seconds at least with soap. And we also want you, if you sneeze or you cough, make sure you do it into your elbow, just like we do at school and we've practiced at school. We want you guys healthy and safe so that we can all get back together and have our regular classroom families meeting and loving each other once again. Today, we're going to get started with a few of our activities. This weekend, we passed out some materials to you, and just to kind of help you guys stay on track for learning and growing together still in kindergarten. We want you, as kindergartners, to enjoy your childhood. So, as much as you can, we want you to play and explore the world and enjoy being home with your families and learning new things. But we also have a few things we want you to keep working on for school as well until we get to meet again. One of the things we're going to do today is we're going to read a new story. It's called Jamaica's Blue Marker. I know some of you have read this story in your class with your teachers already, and that's okay. Miss Katie's class heard this story way back at the beginning of school, and we're just going to kind of read over it really quick so that we can get our reading lesson plan. So I'm going to read Jamaica's Blue Marker. It's written by Juanita Havel, and the illustrations are by Anne Sibley O'Brien, and we find that right there on the title page. Jamaica's Blue Marker. Jamaica closed her eyes and thought about her picture. Mrs. Worth always said to think first and then draw. Jamaica opened her eyes and drew a big tree on her big sheet of paper. Then she drew leaves falling off the tree and colored them yellow. Jamaica, Miss Worth said, could you please share your markers with Russell? He doesn't have any. He never has anything he needs, Jamaica thought. But she said, okay, even though she didn't want to share her markers with him. Russell brought his paper to Jamaica's table. He sat down beside her and grabbed her blue marker. Jamaica picked up her brown and orange markers to finish her picture. She didn't pay any attention to Russell. After a while, she peeked at his paper. Russell was making squiggly lines all over his page. We're supposed to draw a fall picture, Russell, Jamaica said. Who says? Miss Worth, don't you ever listen? I don't have to. Russell reached out with the blue marker and made a streak across Jamaica's paper. Russell, stop! Jamaica shouted. But Russell scribbled all over Jamaica's yellow-leafed tree. Miss Worth, Jamaica cried, Russell wrecked my picture. Mrs. Worth hurried over to their table. Russell, did you do this? She held up Jamaica's picture. Mrs. Worth couldn't get Russell to say, I'm sorry. He had to go sit alone and work on spelling until art was over. Look what Russell did, Jamaica showed her father and brother when she got home. I tried, but I couldn't make another one as good as this. When she looked at the ugly blue squiggles, she had to swallow hard not to cry. Russell is a mean brat. Did you tell Mrs. Worth what happened? Her father asked. Jamaica nodded. Russell can't use my markers again. I shared with him because he didn't have any. He never has what he's supposed to have. But that's no reason to be mean. No, her father said. Russell shouldn't have messed up your picture. The next time they had art, Jamaica was glad Russell didn't sit at her table. Then he couldn't bother her, and she didn't have to share her markers with him either. But at recess, Russell threw sand at her and chased two second-grade girls, so he had to go to the office. Before he came back, Mrs. Worth said, "I would like to tell you something. Can you keep a secret?" "Yes," Jamaica said with all of her classmates. "We're going to have a going away party for Russell on Friday. His father has a new job in another town. They will be moving over the weekend. I thought that you might like to make cards to say goodbye. Then Russell will have something to remember us all by." Mrs. Worth passed out paper. Then she showed everyone how to fold the paper into a card. Jamaica didn't want to make a card for Russell. She was glad he was moving. Then he wouldn't bother her any more. She put the paper in her desk. At supper, Jamaica said, "I like living here. I like my house and my room and the tree in the front yard. I like my school too." "I'm glad you do," her mother said. "I wouldn't like to move." "Who said anything about moving?" Ozzie said. "Russell is moving," Jamaica said. "Lucky you. He won't mess up your papers any more," Ozzie said. "I wonder how Russell feels about moving," Dad said. "He might be upset. Has he talked about it?" "Russell doesn't say anything. He just gets in trouble." Russell didn't come to the classroom on Friday morning. He was with his mother in the office. Jamaica looked at his empty desk. Next week, Russell would be gone. He wouldn't be at his desk ever again. She decided to make a card for Russell. She got out the black card and her markers too. But just then, Mrs. Worth asked, "Who are my helpers this week?" Jamaica raised her hand. "Jamaica, would you collect the cards and put them in Russell's desk? Brianna and Thomas, I'd like for you to clear the activity table for plates and cups." Jamaica went to the desk from desk to desk to pick up the cards. She put the whole stack in Russell's desk. As she closed his desk, Russell came in with his mother. The party started. They played games for a while and ate cake. Russell opened his desk and took out all the cards. "Look, Mom, everyone made a card for me." Not everybody, Jamaica thought. She took the blue marker out of her marker bag. Then she ran up to Russell. "This is for you, Russell." She handed him the marker. "You can use it at your new school." "But you might need it," he said. "You like to draw. You draw the best pictures in class. What if you have to color the sky?" "Someone will share with me," said Jamaica. "Thanks," he said. "You're lucky. You get to stay here." Now Jamaica knew how Russell felt about moving. "I wish you didn't have to move," she said. When Jamaica waved goodbye to Russell, she noticed his mother was carrying his goodbye cards. Russell held up his blue marker and waved at her as if he'd won a prize. "Goodbye, Russell. I'll miss you," Jamaica said. And she meant it. Do you notice which marker's missing? Right there, the blue marker. So in our story today, we heard a story about Jamaica's blue marker. That was the title of our story. But today we're going to talk about characters. Characters are who or what the story is about. This story was about who? That's right, Jamaica and Russell. Sometimes we read stories that are about animals. Sometimes we read stories about people. This story could happen in real life, but this story is a made-up story. It's pretend. I want you to try to go find your reading book if you picked it up. If you didn't, that's okay. You can use one of the writing pages that we gave you. And you're going to turn to page 1. Looks a lot like this. And you'll see the 2 rectangles on your page. And today, I want you to think about Jamaica and to think about Russell. In this square, or in one of these squares, you're going to draw Jamaica. And in one of the squares, we're going to draw Russell. So let's look back at them to make sure we get a couple of the details of what they look like. If you look at this page, you can see Jamaica and Russell. Jamaica's wearing a beautiful blue sweater. She's got beautiful blue barrettes in her hair. Russell's wearing a green t-shirt. He's got blonde hair, and it looks like they are having a good time. I think if I was drawing, I would make sure to include a couple of those details in my pictures of Jamaica and Russell. Now, if you don't have this book at home, or if you've already read this and want to do a different book, it's perfectly fine. The character is going to be who or what the story was about. I want you to focus on that today as you do your reading lesson. I hope you have a great time hearing our story. On our YouTube channel, there's a link to a read aloud of Jamaica and Russell, and you're welcome to read that as well. It will tell the story again to you. And we're going to be working on that story all week long. I hope you have a great day, boys and girls, and we will see you guys in a little while. Bye.